Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments, and I am sharing a flip through today of a few albums. So actually, you're not going to get all of them today, but in the next few days you'll see several videos of some albums that I have done, so that you can kind of compare and contrast and see how my scrapbooking has kind of evolved. Since I'm doing a current album of my husband and my trip to Hawaii and that traveling experience, I thought I would start off by showing you or sharing with you the very first traveling album that I ever made, and that was this one. You may have this if you were with the old Creative Memories company. This is the Tapestry album that came out, I don't even know when, but a very, very long time ago. I was a customer then. I was not an advisor, but I was learning and honing my craft, and at the time our budget was kind of tight, and so my goal was to get as many photos on a page as possible. So you will see that when you see these layouts, how jam-packed full of photos they are. I don't necessarily recommend that. In fact, anymore, I rarely put more than 8, possibly even 10 on the very outside photos on a 2-page spread. But there is one layout, I think it's in this album, I haven't looked through this in a long time, so you're going to get my honest reaction. But there is one page I did at some point in time that had 13 or 14 different pictures on it, and I had cropped some of them very, very small using our custom cutting system, and I was so proud of myself that I got all those photos on there. But you know what? They're really hard to see because there's so much crammed on one page, so I really don't recommend that. At any rate, let's take a look at our Spillman travelogue. These are my 2 oldest children, and it's fun to see them in these photos because they were really young when we were stationed in Europe, and this is the album that I started because we were stationed in Europe. I wanted to have something as a memory from those days. So my mom took us to the park and did a full photo shoot where we just all got our pictures taken like crazy, because my mom was a photographer of sorts. She learned and honed her craft taking pictures of all of us and her students in her class. And my children, as you can see, were pretty good at cheesing it up and posing. I wonder where they got that from. And this one up here is priceless also. Anyway, just some fun pictures. This is what it looked like before we moved, because literally we moved over there for 3.5 years, so we had just stuff everywhere. This is my parents' home, and all of our luggage, just crazy town. When you travel with someone who has to sit in a car seat, it's crazy town. So anyway, just some fun stuff. Our first stop was Italy. We lived in Italy for 1.5 years, which was so fun because there were vineyards and cathedrals or church steeples like all over the hills, and everything was marble. Our entire townhouse that we lived in had marble, wood, and tile floors. There was no carpet anywhere, unless you counted the grass in our tiny little yard outside. This was the kitchen door looking outside. These were all the moving boxes, which my husband put together and made a great play area for the kids while we were unpacking and trying to establish our home. It's a process. I got pretty quick at the process, but it's still a process. We learned a lot about Venice, and as you can see, I experimented with some different ways of putting titles and You'll remember these as are shortcuts that CM used to sell. And we had these really cool pens that were chiseled pens so that we could write with and make it look like calligraphy fairly easily. Those were fun. Carnivale. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Morostica. That was really a fun place to learn about. They have a chess match there every 4 years, I think it was, if I remember correctly. A live chess match where the pieces that are on the chessboard that's in the middle of the town square are live people. And here was a sample of the castles that they use. We visited Pisa, and the tower was at that time was being held up with these big cables held to the large church that was right next to it. We visited a town called Lucca, which had a wall that went all the way around the entire city that was so wide that you could drive a car both directions all the way around on top of the wall. Kind of cool. We went to Grindelwald, Switzerland, which is the place where we get the Heidi stories from. And coincidentally, my oldest daughter's name is Heidi. So that was a really fun experience. And we had some other choice stories from Grindelwald as we visited a few times through the years. I have an aunt who lives in Germany, and we visited her a few times, and were fortunate enough to be toured around the city to see some of the main sites, which was fun. I actually got to sing with her, so I've actually been paid as a professional vocalist because I got to sing with my aunt and her daughter, my cousin, which was really fun. Probably the only time that'll ever happen in my lifetime, but that's okay. It was really fun. We went and saw Austria. These were the ski jumps from the Olympics. I don't remember which Olympics was in Innsbruck, Austria, but those were the ski jumps that they used in that Olympics. And they had a zoo that was built entirely on the side of a mountain. But you can see there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to these layouts, and they're very minimal as far as stickers. I added a little bit of color to complement here and there, mostly using stickers. I didn't mat anything. I used a lot of my custom cutting system and a lot of the shortcuts to add to my pages. And I think for what I had available to me, this works. This worked for me. You can see how trimming your photos allows you to put more photos on a page. And if you're trying to put show a process of how something is done, sometimes trimming your photo allows you to get that process onto one page rather than having to do 5 layouts just to get the process of one little theme. If you've ever been to Venice, to St. Mark's Square, you'll know about the pigeons. Oh my gosh, they have so many pigeons there. And they have markets that are on floating boats in Venice. This is a dry canal, which we often found when we went to go visit. We were fortunate to go to Venice several times while we lived there. We flew home from my grandfather's funeral unexpectedly. He passed away after we had been overseas for about a year. So we were able to come home and be with family for that. This is the triangles. If you were familiar with old CM, you remember how we used to put triangles and accent our corners with those. And it's another way of doing it. Notice all the small photos that have been cropped. One thing about doing this, however, is it does help you focus on what you really want to see in a photo. So if you have something small like this where this is my daughter on a toboggan, I really didn't want to have a 4x6 photo with my daughter on a toboggan this big in the very middle of the photo and take up all that space. So cropping it does save that. The fortunate part about this is since it's all on snow, the background all matches, so it works without distracting you from things. I love doing this on a page. I love providing like the same border around every photo if you can, and then just adding dots or using your pen and adding a little bit of a line in between. Really inexpensive, really fun. Again, a different style than what we currently do or what I currently prefer, but definitely it worked for me back in the days when I didn't have a lot of extra funds for spending on this kind of thing, but I still wanted to record our memories. By making a wavy lines, I sort of was able to give it a little bit of a patriotic theme to my page, which is kind of nice. And putting them just across the corners is also a little bit different. Here there is a little bit of matting, which is kind of nice. A family reunion. We were at a camp out for this family reunion, so I kind of created a little scene at the bottom and used stickers that went along with the theme of the photos. Along with that, we went to SeaWorld, so there's our SeaWorld pictures. Of course, by then we had Michael, so he was just little then. Here's another fun thing to do with stickers. I just took a long sticker and created that side border and then cut the stickers in half and made it so that the animals were kind of peeking out from the border, which is kind of fun. Another cute border for the horses. Very simple. That's just a 12-inch sticker with a couple of pieces of random sized decorative paper and a couple stickers. These are photographs that I pieced together to create the border along the top of this page of all the lanterns for the teacups at Disneyland. Again, these are photographs that I pieced together of the mountain range and Grindelwald, where we took Oma and Grampy as they came to visit for the holidays. And some more ski jumps and things like that from Germany while we were there. Olympic ski jump. This one is in Grindelwald. No, Garmisch, sorry. This one's in Garmisch. This is Neuschwanstein Castle. You may be familiar with this because Walt Disney is said to have based at least one of his Cinderella, I think the Cinderella Castle in Anaheim, off of this particular castle. I took a number of photos from the base of the castle because as you walk up to it, you are walking up a path that is rather steep, and the castle sits above the path on kind of a knoll. And so I pieced together all of those photos that I took as I was walking up, and then that gave us our kind of collage. I find it's really fun to do that with large in stature elements in your photographs. That way you can really get a sense of the size that you're looking at rather than looking at them long distance. Scrapbooking has kind of changed the way that I take pictures in general. So I think that's important to note also, because I don't take pictures the way I did when I was super young. These were the tulip fields at the Keukenhof in Holland, or in the Netherlands. This was a really beautiful, beautiful way to spend a Sunday morning. We went and visited there on a trip with several other families. And these are just photos that I cut into thirds and then used them as part of my border. You'll notice that the center of the photo that is on the top and the bottom over here is in the middle over here, and the one on the top and bottom here is in the middle over here. While we were in the Netherlands, we learned all about cheese and dairy making and wooden shoes and why they used to wear wooden shoes and sometimes still do. The girls had their picture taken in some traditional costumes, and they were also having a I forgot what they call this. At any rate, they had a number of tall ships in port in this old-fashioned village that we were visiting, and that was super fun to see all of these sailing ships. Sometimes when you tear paper, it gives it its own texture. So I tore this one down here, and it actually sort of made it look like a fence because of the fact that there were lines in the paper, which allowed me to let my bird sit on the fence and create some vines and things like that, which was fun. Again, very minimalistic. And this one is a little bit of a sticker sneeze, which we don't really recommend anymore. I probably would not have put quite so many stickers if I had done this page today. But that's okay. It is what it is. Another trip to Disneyland in Paris. The Eiffel Tower, another conglomeration of different pictures put together. As you can probably tell because of the different shading involved in the different photos, coloring involved. Notre Dame and Linderhof Palace. I saw a lot of palaces, a lot of history while we were there. Really fun. We went on a hike with Grandma while she was visiting. These are those same Olympic ski jumps. And all I did was add some rock stickers and some trees in various places to kind of accent the photos that were already on the page. Here's another page that I tore a section of paper from. I love putting the photos right next to each other here and filling up that space, but still giving them a border around each one of them. That allows you to put your title right in the middle and then kind of add smaller photos through the top. It's a good use of the space, I think. All right, let's see. We are nearly to the end. We left right after the 4th of July in 2004. This is what our housing unit looked like. We were in this one right here, this flat. I was never able to grow flowers until we lived in Germany, which was kind of cool. I'm sure that the rain that we got helped immensely. And then the last page is something that I try to do when I have an extra page in a book like this. I will take the time to go in and just write a journal page of everything that we did and who we met and what we enjoyed, and as much as I can, so that the history of what's chronicled on these pages is really thoroughly gone over. And I just built the papers behind it to match our American flag as much as I had available to me at the time, because we were heading back home. I hope this has been helpful to you and given you some good ideas for using in your travel albums. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you some of our other travel albums I've put together as well to help you get some better ideas. And I hope that you have enjoyed spending this time with me and you have many more creative moments. Thanks so much. Have a great day.